At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. It is Friday morning, and you know, things could get a little interesting later on this evening and into tonight. This is something that I kind of touched on yesterday, but as we kind of get closer to the event here going on this evening, we could be looking at the potential for a shower, maybe a thunderstorm near the Redding area and around, say, maybe as far south as Red Bluff. But as you start heading south in the valley, those chances are going to be a lot slimmer. Now, that all being said, it's going to be dry through the day. For most of us, really, it's this evening into tonight that we've got to really kind of keep our eyes on things, and things could get a little interesting for some of us as we go into the evening and overnight hours. All right, let's take a look at the photo of the day. I want to thank Brian Houston for sending in this picture. I believe, I'm not exactly sure exactly where this was taken from, but you can see looking off to the east. Beautiful, right? You've got the snow-packed, snow-peaked, snow-capped, that is, Lassen Peak off the distance there, and of course the surrounding mountains there as well. And it's that time of the year, right? We're starting to see more colors, a lot more of that pop with those wildflowers kicking on in here. So I want to thank Brian for sending in that image here. And by the way, if you want to send in your photos, it's very easy to do that. All you have to do is from the free Weather NorCal app, you can just tap on the share your photo and boom, there you go. You're sharing your photo, it goes right to my weather computer, and it's super easy for me to share and for me to share with you so you can see those beautiful pictures that we've got coming in from a lot of you coming on in here. Let's take a look at the radar, and yeah, we did see a little bit of wet weather, last night that is here. And it was mainly in Modoc and Lassen counties where we saw the bulk of that rain. Maybe a few sprinkles, looks like did make their way into not really even in the valley. So again, most of it was east of the valley here. That has pretty much moved on out. And the main thing that we're really watching right now is, of course, just the dry conditions, but overcast skies. So let's get you through Krueger's Quickcast here for your Friday, April 11th. For those of you that just want to know what to expect for today, here you go. You're heading out the door this morning, getting yourself off to work, getting the kids off to school. You've got mostly cloudy skies, but dry. So don't anticipate any rainfall this morning, but you will see those clouds out there, and that's going to keep the temperatures mild. I mean, look at the temperatures right now in the higher elevations. We're in the 40s really across the board there, no 30s. I'm sure some of the highest of elevations are seeing those 30s, but you get the idea. These overcast skies are really helping to kind of insulate us, keep those temperatures up, and temperatures fairly mild. I mean, we're still at 60 degrees for Oroville, 55 for Redding, and in the low 50s right now along the coast. Now, we look at the cloud cover that's moving on in along with some of the showers, and those showers are pretty much dissipated. But we're still seeing that nice feed of clouds coming on in. Now, behind that, we do have a little bit of clearing as we go into the late morning and early afternoon hours. However, there's going to be some more cloud cover coming in this afternoon. And look off to the left, or should I say the west of us, over the Gulf of Alaska. You'll see a bit of a comma shape there. That comma shape, and let's see if I can do my cursor. You can kind of see right here. See the comma shape that we're seeing here? That is the disturbance right here. That is going to make or break us as to whether or not we see any showers or thunderstorms this evening, and exactly where they are. Because it's not necessarily convective activity that we're going to be looking at. It's going to be more in the way of a disturbance pushing through that could bring us the potential for some thunderstorms, especially northeast of the valley here tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at Futurecast. And what we're seeing here is, yeah, a little bit of clearing. I think we'll see some sunshine for late morning hours, but then more clouds coming in through the afternoon. Now notice by this afternoon, we may see a pop-up shower, maybe even a stray thunderstorm for parts of eastern Siskiyou County. But I think still everyone will be dry, including the coast, by the way. Coast, inland areas, you're dry all day today. Now, you'll notice, again, by 5 p.m., maybe a stray sprinkle, light shower for parts of Siskiyou County, but nothing significant at this point. So really, for the most part, we are dry for all of Northern California today under the partly to mostly cloudy skies. But look at about 6 p.m. as we get into the evening hours. We're beginning to see some showers and possible. We'll see how we're starting to see a little bit more organization. We're seeing much stronger showers coming in with the potential for thunderstorms developing at that point. Now you can see by 7 o'clock this evening, Look at this. We're seeing a little bit of activity popping up around Tehama County, near Red Bluff, making its way into parts of Shasta County as well. But look at Glenn and Butte counties. I don't think he's going to reach that far south. Now we go into 8 o'clock this evening, and you can see eastern Tehama going into northern and eastern Shasta County, but still not much going on in the valley, if anything, at this point. Now, as we go into the, between 8 and 10 o'clock tonight, this particular forecast model does pick up on maybe a stray sprinkle or a light shower for the Redding area, but most of any thunderstorms, should they develop, will stay north of the area. Now, there are some models that want to bring it farther to the south, and there are others that want to bring it way to the north of where we're seeing now, to where Shasta County wouldn't even see anything, which we'll go into that in your deeper dive forecast here in just a bit. But for now, we're taking a look at what's just this one forecast model and that potential. That's going into tonight. Now, overnight, that's going to work its way into parts of Modoc County. So again, we're taking a look at the HRRR forecast model. This is the forecast model that wants to bring the activity and keep it up to our north, but keeps us dry all day long. Even as we go 2, 3, you see how, oh, maybe a little pop-up here late this afternoon to the evening around Siskiyou County, but overall dry for everyone else. Then we go in about 8 o'clock tonight. All right, see that little pop-up trying to develop in kind of Shasta, Tehama County area there, around the line, the county line there. All right, maybe a little pop-up here. But then see where most of it pops up? North of Redding by 10 o'clock. And remember, when we were looking at the in-house forecast model, it did have it kind of starting around Redding and then working its way northward. So you can start to see, starting to see a little bit more agreement there, pretty close. And then as we go into midnight, early tomorrow morning, that's going to work its way northeast into Modoc County, eventually seeing some of that activity as well. All right, this is my last ski report of the season, right? Because Mount Shasta Ski Park, they got their last events going on this weekend, and that's it. We're done with the ski season for the Shasta Ski Park. We can get ready and start gearing up for next season. All right, there's a look at your forecast for today. Temperatures are still going to be pretty warm out there. I'm expecting upper 70s for many of us in the valley. Some of the warmer spots could get up to 80. We'll call it mainly cloudy. But there are going to be some breaks in the clouds for many of us as we go through, especially the late morning hours. Tonight, still mild, but colder. And that's because I don't expect to see as much cloud cover for many of us, and that should allow those temperatures to drop a bit. All right, take a look at your 7-day forecast, starting off with the valley. So I've got PM in there for Redding, maybe as far south as Red Bluff. Anything we do see at this point, I'm not 100% sold that it's actually going to happen, but it's just kind of that heads up. It's one of those things I'm going to have to watch here very closely as we kind of go into the afternoon and get closer to the evening hours. And then it warms up. You see temperatures back in the 80s by the second half of the weekend and next week. Now for the coast, inland, Weaverville, and Trinity County, you're dry all day today and all night tonight as well. No rain is expected for you. And then we're looking at mostly sunny and warmer conditions for the weekend. And it looks like warming up here as we go into next week as well. Now, again, things get a little bit more complicated here. So for Siskiyou County, maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm, especially in eastern Siskiyou County this afternoon and this evening, but the weekend dry. Now, for Modoc County, probably after midnight is when we start to see that potential for some rain, possible thunderstorms that may linger into early Saturday morning. But for the most part, Saturday is dry. Then we're dry Sunday, warming up going into next week. For the eastern mountains, in particular, mainly Plumas County, but parts of Lassen County may see this as well. I think you'll be, and by the way, for today, tonight, really tonight, Bernie could see some of that activity, kind of northeastern Shasta County. But everyone else in the eastern mountains will be dry. But then as we go into Saturday afternoon in particular, Plumas and Lassen counties could see an isolated shower, maybe even a stray thunderstorm. But everyone else is dry. Okay? So it just depends on where you are. And this is where things get really complicated when I'm trying to give the forecast, because you may live in an area that's not talking about rain, but then I'm talking about rain over here or over there, and it gets complicated. All right, but then Sunday, across the board, everyone is dry. And we're dry through most likely next week. We will see about around the middle to latter part of next week, parts of the northern Sierra may get caught up in a few showers. But we'll go into that a little bit more in the deeper dive forecast in a bit. Here's your Lake Oroville, looking out at the overcast skies that we have out there this morning. Take a look at North Forebay. A little bit of a breeze this morning, but some breaks in the clouds. I mean, it's not completely overcast, but we do have the mostly cloudy skies out there this morning, but also looking at those dry conditions. Mostly cloudy on Highway 99 at Neal Road. Looks like traffic is moving smoothly there. There's a look at Highway 44, Sundial Bridge Drive. Looking at that still image of Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. And looks like we've got the mostly cloudy skies out there this morning as well. Hey, by the way, there is a ticket giveaway for the Red Bluff Roundup. The first main rodeo event is next Friday, 1 week from today. For those of you that are excited about it, I'm sure you're counting the days, counting the hours, counting the minutes and the seconds. But I've got 2 tickets to give away right here. Yes. And you can win these tickets. All you got to do is email me at mkrueger@weathernorcal.com or just go to the website. All right. Ooh, got a little is it frozen? I hope not. Okay, good. Just go to weathernorcal.com and see at the top there on the menu, it says contact. Click contact, fill out the information, your name, your email, and say, hey, I want to win, whatever it is, right? And you will be entered officially into the contest. Now, next Wednesday, April 16th, I will be announcing the winner right here on Coffee with Krueger. And these, my friends, we're going to be giving those away. Lots of good times. So, once again, go to weathernorcal.com, click on contact, or just email mkrueger@weathernorcal.com, and you can enter to win the contest. Well, today is Friday. We have got our pet of the week, and this week we meet, what was her name? Oh, we meet Harley. Super awesome dog. I think you'll like it. Take a look. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Krueger, Weather NorCal. You're watching Pet of the Week. We've got Katrina from Haven Humane Society. We've got Harley, also from the Haven Humane Society, but doesn't want to be from the Haven Humane Society. Wants to be at your home. What do you think? So, what kind of dog do you think we have here?
We just have her as a shepherd mix. We're not quite sure what she's mixed with, but she definitely has some of those shepherd features of the pointy ears and the snout and whatnot. But she is gorgeous.
Yeah, and I noticed, so when I went to go approach her, she has some energy, like you can see right here, but also, a little bit of hesitancy around, like kind of mellows out to kind of sniff you out and hang out with you. But then kind of back to that energy, I think, once she gets comfortable with everybody, right?
That's kind of her. She can be a little bit more subdued at first when she's meeting people, she can be a little bashful, but she has a lot of energy for sure. We think she's about 3 years old too, so she, she's pretty young, but she's super sweet. I know she recently went to the farmer's market with us because we did like an adoption event there this last week, and she had a really fun time meeting kids and meeting people of all ages, and was just really friendly with people and just had a fun time. So I think she would do well in most households, just because she is pretty friendly. Like you said, she's kind of a little bit more like shy at first, so she's I don't think she's one that's gonna like run in and jump all over your guests or anything. They kind of need to come up to her and say, hey, and then she's really friendly and sweet.
And that's a big plus, because with a dog myself that likes to jump on people, that is no bueno. That is for sure. So if you're interested in bringing Harley to your home to make it her forever home, then give the number on your screen a call, and they'll take care of you over here at Haven Humane Society. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Harley. And we will see you next week for Pet of the Week. All right. So, yeah, if you want to check it out, all you have to do is just go to Haven Humane Society. You can give them a call. Of course, you saw the number on the bottom of your screen there. Call them, and you can take Harley home with you. Be sure to give that a look and some consideration if you're looking for a dog. All right, what do you say we get to our forecast? But before we do that, do need to mention our sponsor, made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. I want to thank them for sponsoring Coffee with Krueger. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's take a look at those current conditions out there right now, and we are sitting in the mid to upper 50s for the Valley. 55 for Redding, 60 in Oroville. Notice these temperatures really aren't all that cool out there. We've got generally those temperatures mainly in the 40s for the higher elevations, not even dropping down to the 30s, so pretty mild to start off. And it's all thanks to the cloud cover we have out there this morning insulating us. Temperatures around 50 for the coast, that is. So we've got mostly cloudy skies here for today. Now, I think it's really going to start off mostly cloudy, there may actually be some clearing for some of us through the morning hours. Then through the afternoon, more clouds coming in. Now, there's also going to be some areas of rain and maybe some thunderstorms. And we're going to go into complete detail, walk you through the timing, the intensity, what the forecast models are kind of doing as far as agreeing or disagreeing. We'll take a look at that. We got a drop in our temperatures today and Saturday. Nothing major. We're still above normal for this time of the year, even though we are seeing a slight drop. Potential for gusty north winds this weekend, well, off and on here. We'll take a closer look at that a little bit later. And we've got dry and warm conditions going into next week. So we take a look at the satellite image, and it does tell a few stories here. Number one, you've got all the clouds that are coming in this morning. That's the insulation. That's what's keeping us dry, keeping us mild out there. There were a few showers that moved through east of the valley last night and early this morning. Those have since then moved on out, and it's really a dry across the board right now. Now, you'll notice a little bit of a semi-dry slot right here. So as this progresses eastward, I think we may see some clearing for some of us, but some cooler and unstable air. But another thing I want you to take note, and this is something we've got to watch here, because this is what really I think is going to be that potential for those thunderstorms to possibly develop. You know, we talk about convective thunderstorms, and what that means is when you get that clearing, the surface heats, that heat then rises into the colder air aloft, and we see thunderstorms develop as a result, or showers and sometimes thunderstorms. That's that lift you need. In order for thunderstorms to develop, you need lift in the atmosphere. You need that instability. But it's not always convection, folks. It's not always that rising air that creates that instability. You can have these disturbances that we talk about that can move through. And this right here, the timing of this looks to be sometime this evening into tonight. This little swirl is what can create that lift, that instability that we may need for those showers and thunderstorms to develop. So the exact placement of this, still difficult for sure, but there is that potential. Now we're going to start with what's known as the HRRR forecast. This updates every hour. And this model actually does a pretty good job with the short range forecast, because what it does, every hour it takes the current conditions, the current and then the latest model data, and it plugs it in every hour. So this is the latest coming on in. Here you can see we take it about noon today. We don't have anything going on. Now, the clouds, again, I think we're going to see some clearing out there. So don't really pay too much attention to the clouds. What we're really going to pay attention to is what's going on with the potential for rain. So even at 5 o'clock today, this model does not want to show a drop of rain just yet. Okay, so again, keep that in mind when we look at our in-house model. All right, now you see as we go into the afternoon and evening, it's starting to pop up. But 10 o'clock. But notice most of it is north of the valley, even north of the city of Shasta Lake and Lakehead. So most of it by 10 o'clock tonight looks to be in eastern Siskiyou and northeastern Shasta County. That eventually, by midnight, early tomorrow morning, this all just kind of moves off to the north and east. At least that's what it's beginning to look like. But the rest of us, if you'll notice, are dry for today and even going through tonight. So it's mainly, I think, the north end of the valley that has the best chance. As you head south, the chances do begin to diminish as far as any chances for rain are concerned. Now let's take a look at our in-house forecast model. Now remember, the HRRR forecast is keeping us dry all day long until 5 p.m. Let's take you into the noon hour. So again, this I think has a better representation of what the clouds will do. I think we'll see a lot of clearing, especially off to the east. Some clearing for the valley, but less clearing off to the west. Then those clouds will start to kind of come in here through the afternoon. But already seeing a few pop-up showers trying to develop here by the afternoon, but mainly in central and eastern Siskiyou County, working its way into northwestern Modoc County. But otherwise, still dry for everyone else, right? That's at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Now we take it about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so now we're seeing some pop-ups here for central, eastern Siskiyou County. You see around Tehama, west of Red Bluff, maybe a pop-up shower trying to develop here, but overall, not very active, not very impressive. Now, as we go into 8 o'clock tonight, now we're seeing it mainly east of the valley beginning to pop up here. You could even see a straight thunderstorm even out towards eastern Siskiyou County. By the way, this entire time, it is dry for Trinity County, western Siskiyou, Del Norte, and Humboldt counties. And it is still dry, even out towards Modoc County and the eastern mountains. It's kind of this area right here throughout the evening into tonight that we got to watch. And then eventually overnight into tomorrow morning, it's up here. And you'll see that, all right? So here you go. 10 o'clock tonight. Now, look at this. You see how it's beginning to develop around Reading. So, as we go into 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight, should we see a stray sprinkle, a light shower around Reading? You're out and about, you're, going, just kind of maybe walking outside at night, for whatever reason. If you experience a stray sprinkle or light shower, don't be surprised. But notice most of the activity is to the north. Eastern Shasta County, around Bernie, out towards, say, Tennant, eastern Siskiyou County, right? A lot of these rural areas in eastern Siskiyou County, actually. And even out towards western Lassen, seeing some of that. But notice to the south, we don't have really anything going on here. And then as we progress through the night, it all just kind of pushes northward. So now, by midnight, it's showing drier conditions for Shasta County and even most of Siskiyou, and it's Modoc County that's really getting the brunt of it at this point. Then we go into the early morning hours. It started to kind of dissipate a bit, and by Saturday morning, it's all pretty much done. But watch what happens. Now again, by the way, we're starting off dry for almost everyone Saturday morning and dry for the rest of the day. However, see, this is kind of shifting southward. By noon on Saturday, everyone's dry, everyone's sunny. However, see the clouds right here? We actually may see some convective activity, but that disturbance may be pushing through, and see that may be a pop-up shower, maybe a pop-up thunderstorm for parts of Plumas County, and maybe even parts of Lassen County as well. But everyone else should be dry through the day on Saturday. In fact, by Saturday, 6 p.m., that's all pretty much done with. Then by Sunday, all bets are off for any rainfall, and we're just looking at sunny skies and warmer temperatures. So really, it's just these, little kinks here and there in the forecast that kind of make things a little bit tricky. Now, I don't want you to pay too much attention to the rainfall totals, because these are most likely not even going to be anywhere close to what anybody sees for the most part, but I want you to pay attention to where the rain is going to be. And this is what I was talking about. It focuses here this evening into tonight, and even up into eastern Siskiyou, and then it's after midnight into tomorrow morning that we see the bulk of it over Modoc County. But I do anticipate that the most amount of rain in the rain bucket will be in Modoc County. But once again, it's mainly overnight into early tomorrow morning when most of you are asleep. And by the way, you may even hear some rumbles of thunder. Now, I want to reiterate and talk to you about not just the convective showers and thunderstorms that can develop, but the instability coming in from these disturbances that we talk about, or sometimes you may even have heard of the term jet streak. Now, jet streak is usually a term that's used for severe weather, but we can still get our own little mini versions of these jet streaks that can create our shower and thunderstorm activity that's not quite as intense. Now, what is a jet streak? What does all that mean? Bottom line is, as I was mentioning, you need that upward lift, right? That upward lift. If it's not convection, you need something else to lift that up. Sometimes it could be a cold front, but sometimes these jet streaks, these disturbances can create that. So, where do we look for that? Well, number one, you see these white lines here. This is basically the jet stream. This is the upper level flow. So when you see a trough like this, you take a trough and you take a line right here. Typically on the eastern side of that is somewhere in there you'll see what's known as upper level divergence. That's air spreading apart, and that creates lift, okay? So that's where we are. So you see also, I put the wind streaks in here. The reds and even those brown colors, those are really fast winds. So it's entering in here, it speeds up, and because you have the weaker winds here, speeds up, it creates that upward lift, that divergence, and that could be focused right around the Reading area northward as we go into this evening. Okay, so that's what we're looking at there. Then we go into about 3 o'clock in the morning, that shifts eastward. You see how the winds are a bit weaker here. Now we're seeing more of that lift right about here in Modoc County. Then as we go into Saturday night, Saturday evening that is, we're seeing a little bit of a dip in the jet stream right here. That could create some of that upward lift here for the folks. But I think most likely by the time we get to Saturday afternoon, it's mainly going to be the form of convection that we'll see here as we go into Saturday afternoon. But then by Sunday, there's that ridge of high pressure building in. And yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous Saturday too. But again, that slight chance for some of those showers and thunderstorms in the eastern mountains is what we're looking at here. So Saturday, Sunday, high pressure is building in. going to be gorgeous. Now, once we go into next week, I've got my eyes on an area of low pressure that's expected to develop down here. Now, the positioning of this low pressure system will depend as to whether or not any of us here in NorCal see any activity. What's happening is this: we've got this area of low pressure spinning, counterclockwise rotation. This is Tuesday of next week. We see these disturbances rotate around it, and some of those on the north end of that are going to be kind of into the Sierra as we go into Tuesday. Now, you can see as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, you see how it's kind of pushing off to the north and east. But it looks like as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, most of that will be along the spine of the Sierra, but nowhere else. But as this continues to push off to the east, come on, it advanced, there we go. We may see now the flow around that kind of come here into Northern California. Now, I'm not putting any rain in the forecast just yet for next Friday, right? But it does look like some of the higher elevations may see that potential here as we do go into that Friday. We'll have to watch that. This is, again, exactly where this low pressure system ends up will depend on who sees the rain. And it looks like it'd be mainly a mountain event, but depending on its placement, we can't rule out some activity, possibly even the valley as well for your Friday. So we'll have to watch for that. All right, so let's talk about the winds now, because the winds are something they're going to be picking up a little bit as well. Gusty this afternoon for the coast. You see about 15, 20 miles per hour from the south for the most part for the valley, and a little gusty out towards the eastern mountains today as well. Now Saturday around midday, it's mainly the north and west side of the valley, a little over 20 miles per hour from the north. North winds 20 to even 30 miles per hour for the coast, but elsewhere really not that bad. Then we go into Saturday evening, still a little breezy, gusty out there. There's Sunday around midday, still a bit breezy here for the valley, parts of the mountains. The coast doesn't look to be quite as bad, and then the wind should subside a little bit here going into your Sunday evening. Okay, so the Climate Prediction Center is still putting us in the warmer than normal category. What that means is, well, yeah, temperatures are expected to stay above normal. You know, the normal high for the valley is about 70. We stay above that today, tomorrow, and we go into the 80s, low to mid 80s on average for all of next week. But take note, we're not getting close to 90 degrees just yet. So summer is not knocking on our door just yet. All right, so there you can see we got the drier than normal conditions here in the longer range. Looking at the lake levels, they're looking absolutely awesome. We're still seeing about a half a foot elevation gain over the last 24 hours. You can see the capacity is looking good. The historical average is looking good. We are looking good, folks, when it comes to water. And keep in mind, a lot of what we're seeing now going into the lakes is that snow melt from that awesome snowpack that we've got over the mountains right now. That's that nice reserve that we get as we go into the summertime season. So the wave heights are expected to increase throughout the day today. They'll be fairly high going into your Saturday. So when we look at your marine forecast, I've got a small craft advisory in there. Now the reason being is it's not going to be until this afternoon. Keep in mind that it won't be until this afternoon. So the winds will progressively get stronger off the coast, and then that's going to eventually allow for a small craft advisory to be issued. Now we've got the waves here, as you can see there, and your high and your low tide and your sunrise and sunset. Now, as I mentioned, I do think that those winds will be fairly strong going into your Saturday as well, and that will probably continue with that small craft advisory, maybe even a hazardous seas warning. We'll see, right? But there's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, and temperatures in the mid to upper 60s for the Highway 299 corridor. Maybe around 70 towards Coffee Creek, 72 degrees in Douglas City. Mostly cloudy, mainly sunny over the weekend, and warmer 80s by Monday through Thursday of next week. Taking out of the south, temperatures mainly in the 60s, although a little bit cooler out towards Mad River with about 57 degrees. Southern Humboldt County, about 61 degrees for Miranda, 63 for Redway, 58 degrees in Shelter Cove. You're dry all day, just mostly cloudy for everyone in the North Coast, including the inland areas. Ferndale down to Rio Dale, probably somewhere in the mid-50s today. 65 degrees for Willow Creek, 64 in Hoopa. You're dry today. 58 degrees in Trinidad and 56 degrees in Arcata. Up north, 63 degrees for Smith River, 55 for Gas Key, 56 in Crescent City, and 57 degrees for Oric. Taking out to Siskiyou County on the Highway 96 corridor there, temperatures in the upper 60s, and we've got those mid-60s for your daytime highs along I-5. We take you out to Scott Valley. Temperatures low 60s there, mostly cloudy. 64 degrees out in Fort Jones, 63 for Callahan. I would say west of I-5, mainly dry. If you see a stray sprinkle this afternoon, don't be surprised. It's mainly east of I-5 that I think we've got the best chance for showers and thunderstorms, possibly this afternoon and even going into tonight, but dry for the weekend and warmer, especially going into the second half of the weekend and early next week. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, I think it's tonight after midnight that we see the bulk of any activity moving in. That'll continue to the early morning hours tomorrow, but then really the rest of the day should be dry. That's why we got the AM rain in there. And then we're dry for Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and warmer back in the 70s by Monday of next week. Now for the eastern mountains, I'd say Bernie, you've got a chance for some showers, possible thunderstorms here this evening into tonight. So that's mainly going to be around this area. So, for example, Montgomery Creek, maybe Shingletown, Viola, Old Station, Hat Creek, Fall River Mills, even Bieber, all seeing that potential for maybe a shower or thunderstorm this evening into tonight. Paynes Creek, most likely you'll be dry. I would expect that we're also seeing dry conditions, at least for tonight, for Lassen Park and Lake Almanor as well. Temperatures there around the lake will be in the mid to upper 60s, mainly in the low 50s for most of the areas around the Lassen Park. There you can see 69 degrees for Kronberg. I think it'll be dry through the day today and tonight. It's tomorrow afternoon that places like Quincy, Greenville, basically all of these areas right here have the potential to see a stray shower or a thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon, not today, tomorrow afternoon. The Valley neighborhood forecast of the south, I think, dry all day, all night. Upper 70s too, maybe even some 80-degree readings here for parts of the valley, but it's dry for Oroville for the next 7 days. Dry for Chico as well, not only today, but tonight. Temperatures in the upper low to mid 80s, that is, here for Sunday, Monday. We keep it that way through next week. All right, take you up to the north. Now, Cottonwood and Anderson, all of these areas here have the potential for a stray sprinkle, maybe a light shower going into this evening, into tonight, maybe a stray thunderstorm as well. Whiskeytown, Lakehead, you could see some of that, but it's really going to be confined off to the north and east. So when we look at your 7-day forecast for Redding, yes, I put PM in there. Basically just indicating, listen, if you see a stray sprinkle or light shower, don't be surprised. But overall, I'm expecting you to see mainly dry conditions. And then for Saturday, Sunday, we're starting to see those temperatures increase again. We're in the low to mid 80s here for Monday through really most likely the end of next week. However, what's not shown here on the forecast is that by Friday of next week, we are looking, at least for now, the potential for some areas to maybe see some showers here, especially in the higher elevations by Friday of next week. Now, as of right now, of course, as you know, we've got the Red Bluff Roundup. As of right now, I'm not anticipating that rain to make its way into the valley at this point. But we're going to have to watch that closely because it has everything to do with that area of low pressure and the positioning of it and how that will impact Northern California. As I mentioned, I think most of it will be in the mountains, but something we've got to watch here very closely as we really get closer to the Red Bluff Roundup. Got a couple people checking in this morning. Delinda and Curtis Brown saying good morning and thanks for the detailed forecast. Yeah, went into a lot of detail here today. Now, if you missed it, you're going, oh, I missed it. Well, this will be on Facebook. You can always go back and watch it. You can also go to weathernorcal.com and click on the Coffee with Krueger section, and that will be uploaded as soon as I'm done with this because it's recording as we speak. Yes, it is recording, and you can watch it there as well. Also, you can watch the 6 a.m. forecast update, and that is available everywhere. Weather NorCal is available from the app, from weathernorcal.com, 24-hour streaming channel, everywhere, except for the TV airwaves. Just yet. Am I hinting at something? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? There's my coffee. So there you go. And if you don't have the app, I want you to take your phone right now. Right here, right? See it? And you can see that little QR code. I couldn't remember the name. The QR code on the lower left corner of your screen. Put it in. You put your photo, right? Put it on your camera, and then focus your camera on. Don't take a picture. You don't have to take a picture of it. And then it will pop up a link that you tap. You tap that link, and it will take you right to the Android or the iPhone download section, and it'll take you to your app store, and boom, you are going to be good to go. and you can download the app, and you will be good to go on that one as well. Jeff Johnson saying good morning. Going to be a great weekend. I think so. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous out there. We just got to watch this evening and tonight with that potential for those showers and thunderstorms, including the north end of the valley around the Redding area, Anderson, Cottonwood, Palisadro, City of Shasta Lake, the works. We got to watch that here for this evening tonight. So be sure to keep checking in here at Weather NorCal throughout the day. I'll be taking a look at the latest forecast model data and keeping you informed should anything develop. And should it develop into something significant, I will be here to get you the information that you need so you can stay safe. Again, that's if anything significant develops, which it probably won't. All right, so I just want you to know that I'm keeping my eyes on the radar for you, but you can also check out the radar and watch the radar from the free Weather NorCal app. Well, that's going to do it for us this Friday. This is our Friday edition of Coffee with Krueger. So glad you could join us here this Friday. Of course, I will be off this weekend. Chase Wilson will be giving you the latest forecast here on Saturday and Sunday at 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. He'll have the latest forecast for you. I will be back on Monday. We do a 6 a.m. forecast and Coffee with Krueger right here at 6:30 in the morning. Have yourselves a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Thank you.